Yeah, I mean, there will be moments where you might want to take a note or something because there'll be experiences that you have where you want to be like, oh yeah, But yes, exactly. This is an astrology that is basically, getting out of the chart and into the body, and not just the body, but the whole imagination, the whole way we move and live in the world. So rather than talk about the planets, we will talk to the planets. We will let the planets talk to us. So talking about it is fine, right? That we all do it, but it kind of removes you from things. It's just very similar to like most astrologers are looking at charts and math equations and all that. We're kind of moving that to the side and just saying, let's just get in there and feel it together. So the kinds of things that looks like, it looks like a little bit of like guided imagery, visualization type of stuff. Sometimes it looks like art making or art making doesn't mean you have to be an artist, right? It just
All
means the
right.
art of drawing or that kind of thing. Sometimes it's writing prompts where you're invited to write as the planet or as a part of your chart. Sometimes we are doing movement where we might walk around the wheel of the chart, or I might tell you a myth about Aquarius, and then we act it out in the room. And then while we're acting it out, we ask ourselves, which planet am I? You sort of discover it in the moment. Um, Astrodrama, where you play Venus and that person plays Saturn squaring your Venus, and you find out how they are interacting and also how they could change their interaction, like what might be different. Um, it's a full range of stuff.
And are we going to get to do all of this?
Well, no, but I'm
Oh,
just giving the full range of
okay.
what is
I'm like,
what
that's a
we could do.
lot.
We'll do, I think, quite a few of those. So one of the
Okay.
things I want to say, because I don't want people to come feeling like you have to be an extrovert and you have to like jump in and do all
Yes.
this stuff, because that's not how everybody participates, and that's totally okay. Like I will very quickly do some things to understand what are people ready to do, and we will pitch it to a place that is really workable for the room. So
Okay.
this is something where you don't have to be warmed up to be really out there and vulnerable. There will always be a few people in the room who probably are, and that's also great. But you could also be a lot of time in the witnessing role, and that's totally fine. Like, or you might, what it will be practicing is actually a really important skill, which is like, how do you connect and let yourself get inside the chart? It's almost like, when I see a chart with a client, one of the things I do almost every time is I really take a minute to look at the chart and to imagine that we're under the sky that I see on this chart, right? Just to imagine, oh, there's Venus in the east and there's the sun in the first house
Mhm.
about to rise. And, just to get under there together and get in there and then feel it. Or I might look at an aspect that looks difficult, like Uranus opposite the moon, and I might just take a minute to feel like, what is that moon like? It's looking over there at Uranus, and Uranus is doing whatever. I might see an image of Uranus, like, I don't know, in Capricorn or something, disrupting all the structure. And if I'm the moon over there looking at that, I'm like, like that's a little, whew.
All
And
right.
you can feel it, right? And that'd be a Cancer moon, the way I just set it up. So
Yeah.
it's like, but when you get in there and feel it, you can speak in a different way to the client about it also. Or
Yeah.
if it doesn't have to be for a professional astrologer, you can feel it like, oh, there's a part of me that is, feels there's a constant disruption of the structure. And I'm always trying to feel secure. I reach out for this and that, and it just, pulls the rug out from under me again and again.
Mhm.
So, an astrologer could say the same thing without getting into the roles. But when you're
Right.
speaking from the field, it's a completely different experience, right? When you're inside the field instead of talking about the field. So, and you
Right.
get information in a way that it's never going to leave you. Like kind of the way that I did. I think this is why I love this method, is because I grew up most of them were not technique heavy astrologers, right? I mean, my grandmother could erect a chart, but they wouldn't do these complex analysis that I think is great and we can all do, or whoever wants to. But what they had that I think was so special is they had a really embodied understanding of the archetypes. Like they knew Taurus, like when Taurus was in the
Right.
room, they know that's what they're dealing with, or they
Right.
know a Saturn aspect.
Right.
And And so in a way, even though I learned all this technique and I have studied them all, to be honest, or an awful lot of them, and used them all, but the thing that I'm kind of refractory to all that stuff because
Right.
no. A lot of, if I'm at an astrology conference, people are up here talking in their head about the chart. I just kind of check out. Like I want to be in it. You know, I'm a sun.
I hear
So
ya. Right? They come and they give you all this, like, oh my God, I'm doomed. My Mars is this, Venus is that. And you're just like, okay. Right.
right, and that's actually what we're going to focus on at the workshop is the planets that you maybe feel like are the bad ones or the hard ones or they're, you know, so there's all these different things that doctrine tells us, right? Like, oh, planets in the eighth house or the 12th is the bad spirit or the eighth house is frightening or planets that are opposing things or squaring things or planets that are debilitated, you know, like in fall
Right.
or detriment, or you know, endless ways to think
Yeah,
about
intercepted. Right? I get the
it.
people like,
Yeah, intercepted. Well, it'll
oh
be
no,
different. We'll all come in with our own ones where we're like,
my
you know, or maybe we just maybe we just feel like that's my trouble planet. Like you know, I've always had trouble with relationship. I'm not speaking for me. Well, maybe, but
God.
you know, I've always had trouble with relationship. My Venus is, you know, whatever. So this will be a chance to give the planet a chance to share with about itself rather than the technique
Mhm.
being put on it. It's sort of like, what's the inner reality of that planet? So again, I want to say it's like the work is fun and alive, but beyond also fun, it's also there's depth possible. Like because you really will when you get inside there, you don't really know what you'll find, right? That's the
Right.
when we really get past the concepts, it a lot of things are in there, and that's why for therapeutic work, and you know, this isn't going to be a
Right.
therapy session, but for therapeutic work, it really opens up a lot of avenues, including to trauma or to, you know, patterns that are really people want, you know, to
Right.
change. Yeah.